Okay, for the Crosman vigilante, what you want is some kind of pistol rest like I have here. And you want to sight it in at 7 yards, and you can see down there I got a target at 7 yards. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the revolver and concentrate as much as you can, putting it on the rest somewhere. And you're going to hold the sights as perfect as you can, and then you're going to make adjustments to that screw right there for windage and elevation. The top one, the top screw right there is your elevation. The side one here is your windage. So at 7 yards you want it to shoot center a little bit high. And I'm going to take you over to the target now. And you can see I loaded up a clip of 10 pellets. These are the Air Arms 7.33 grain. And they fit wonderfully. They are perfect fitting pellets for this kind of revolver here. So anyway, and that's nice to have a little screwdriver too. So let me take you over there. This is 7 yards. The reason why I'm sighting it in for 7 yards is because of the fact that the velocity in this pistol is going to average about 360 feet per second, somewhere around there. And CO2 air guns, they're going to lose some of the CO2, so your shots are going to drop low. So it's actually good to have them going high. So when you run out of velocity, at least you got the sights raised so that you can shoot a little bit high on the target. So what I'm looking for is just somewhere around here, around that black dot there, which is about a ½ inch. And this is at 7 yards. And what I'm hoping to get is just somewhere within the orange here. And this revolver isn't perfectly accurate. So what you want to do is you want to take a number of shots, like say 10 shots, and then whatever you observe for your 10 shots, then you want to adjust the sights by the cluster. Don't adjust by the individual shot. You want to adjust by the cluster of the shots. If you adjust it by individual shots, you'll have one here, you'll adjust it, then you'll have one here and you'll adjust it, and you'll be chasing shots all day long. So it's better just to look at the cluster. If the cluster is right about where you want it, then I would just leave it alone. So I'm going to fire 10 shots for you from bench. And this is the second round, which is shot number 20 through shot number 30. So the first 10 are going to be pretty powerful, so they're going to kind of go high anyway. But shots number 20 through 30 is probably the best, where you want to sight in your revolver for, because of the fact that the shots velocity starts to even out around shots 20 to 40. Okay, this is really good. I fired my second clip, and what you're observing there is you're observing the cluster. And if you look at the cluster between the furthest points, you'll see that it's center. It's center plus a little high, and that's the way you want it. Since this revolver is good for about 15 yards, we're at 7 yards, sighting it in here a little high, we're good. So we got 10 shots right here. So what I'll do in the other video is I'll take 10 shots at 15 yards, kind of show you what the groups are going to do. So anyway, once again, that square is a 1/2 inch. That circle is 1 inch. So it kind of gives you an idea. So we're shooting about 1 inch groups or something like that at 7 yards. Once again, you want to sight it in by the cluster. Now, if you fired one shot, for instance, and you started playing with the windage right here, what happens if the shot goes here or here? What's going to happen is you're going to be chasing shots all day long. So if the cluster, for instance, right here is over here, then you just simply adjust the windage to come over. And then you can put them on here like I have them here. So this is about as good as it gets, because you'll see this shot here and this shot, and look what's in the center. You know, that 1/2 inch black square. That's how you want it. It's probably not going to get any better than this for accuracy. So that's typical. So anyway, hope you enjoy. I'll do the 15-yard one too for you, 10 shots. Okay, we're at 15 yards. We're going to do 10 shots. Now, the one thing to remember at 15 yards is that since it's not perfectly accurate at 7 yards, at 15, it's going to scatter a little bit. So what we're looking for is just the cluster, how close it is together, and if the shots are kind of like in the general area. And then, you know, depending on what distance you're shooting is how you can adjust your windage. But if you want the best of 7 yards and 15 yards, I would stick with the 7-yard adjustment. If you try to adjust it at 15 yards where I am now, there's a lot of human error involved at 15 yards, whereas 7 yards there's not that much human error because you can keep it steady. But when you're at 15 yards and you're aiming for this right here, you have a tendency to move around a little bit. So anyway, I'll fire 10 shots. Okay, once again, like I was telling you guys before, this is my evidence here to show you guys from shooting these Crosman pistols for quite a few decades, especially the Crosman 357. But I've had these kind of pistols for decades. As you can see here, the furthest pellet is here. The furthest pellet is here. Look what's in the middle. So we're pretty much centered. And yes, we have a few high ones, but like I was saying before, when you adjust your sights at 7 yards for being a little bit high here, it kind of helps, because at this distance, when you're starting off high, it helps out a lot, because as you start shooting the revolver, it's going to get weaker over time. So you got about 50 shots, and then shots 50 to 60, you're going to notice it drop a little bit. So if it drops a little bit from here to here, then at least you're going to be somewhere around that area. So anyway, there is some human error involved in this too, trying to keep the sights underneath here. So if you took out all the human error, all the shots would fit right inside that orange spot right there. So it'd be about about 2-inch groups to 2.5-inch groups at bench rest. So if you're getting 4-inch groups, or something like that, standing with 2 hands, that's not too bad, because if considering bench rest, it's not super accurate at 15 yards anyway. So this is more like a fun plinking type pistol, but it's good enough to simulate a gun range like at 15 yards with a 38 special. I'm sure this kind of grouping here would help you get used to shooting a 38 special revolver. Practicing with Crosman Vigilante or something like that, can actually help you keep your muscle memory and keep your sight alignment skills up, and stuff like that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and that's the sight in for this Crosman Vigilante.